or states. The idea of attributing holiness to the creation is fundamentally incompatible with Islamic monotheism. The idea that a land, any land, is holy, or that a people, any people, is holy, are simply unacceptable. Others are free to believe it, but Muslims are forbidden to do so, and are forbidden to let it be imposed on them. Even Mecca and Medina are not holy in Islam. Khalifa Umar, can I have slide 4 please? Khalifa Umar, this is the second Khalifa after the Prophet, makes the point in a very stark way on his pilgrimage to Mecca. He addressed the black stone of the Kaaba and famously said, "I know that you are but a damn rock, and if I didn't see the Prophet touching you, I would not." So even the Kaaba itself, the holiest, the most sacrosanct, the most the most sanctified place for Muslims, is not holy. The Kaaba, Mecca, and Medina are not holy, they are sanctified, which means that one should be on one's best behavior there. No weapons are allowed there, and one should not curse, backbite, or act in mean-spirited ways. Charity and worship and good deeds are encouraged there instead. Apart from this, there is nothing holy about these places. Likewise, with Palestine and Jerusalem, they are sanctified for being the land of the prophetic traditions of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, peace be upon them all, whose prophecies every Muslim is required to recognize and respect. Palestine is also sanctified for housing Al-Aqsa Mosque and for being the first Qibla of the Muslims. This is the place that Muslims faced while praying. Jerusalem was the first Qibla for Muslims until the Quran urged them to switch to Mecca. It is also sanctified for being the place of Prophet Muhammad's nocturnal journey to heaven that the Quran mentions. But neither Jerusalem, nor Palestine, nor even Al-Aqsa is holy to Muslims. The Prophet famously said, when somebody asked the Prophet about spilling Muslim blood, he said, even destroying the Kaaba, rock by rock, is not as bad as spilling Muslim blood. So Muslim blood is more important than the Kaaba. Nothing is holy but God, and it is absolutely forbidden in Islamic monotheism to associate any attributes of God, like holiness, uniqueness, or infallibility, with anything else or anybody else besides God. Islamic monotheism is distinguished by the fact that it starts by defining where God isn't. It starts by telling us where God is not. There is only one article of faith in Islam, only one article of faith. Everything else is subject to interpretation and debate. Do you guys know what's the article of faith? Monotheism. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. When you look at the first clause, there is no God but God, it has a double negation. There is no God but God. Nothing is holy or sacred but God. Muslims do not make claims to Palestine because they consider it holy. They make claims to it because they legally own it in the secular sense of the word, according to secular norms of contract and deeds of trust concerning land ownership. The idea that the question of Palestine is a conflict between three faiths, each one of them considering the land to be holy, and each one of them making exclusive biblical claims to the land, is simply not true. It's certainly not true in Islam. And as you guys know, it is not true in Christianity either. Christianity does not make biblical claims to Palestine or to any other land, for that matter. There are some Christian traditions Nazi Germany developed the idea of the holy nation, the chosen people in a secular political format. So Nazi Germany considered themselves chosen people. But these two examples remain an appropriation or a misappropriation of an Old Testament idea that the New Testament does not pick up. This is, in short, this is the theological and philosophical framework necessary to understanding the relationship of Islam to Palestine. Muslims do not claim to be chosen people, and Palestine is not holy. They do not claim that their religion is the only true religion. Can I have slide 5, please? None of our revelations do it abrogate. This is the Quran talking about previous revelations, Christianity and Judaism. None of our revelations do it abrogate or cause to be forgotten, but we substitute something better or similar. Knowest thou not that Allah had power over all things? Muslims do not believe that only Muslims have access to salvation. Can I have slide 6, please? Those who believe, these are the people that are considered to be people of the book in the text of the Quran. Those who believe in the Quran, meaning the Muslims, and those who follow the Jewish scripture, and the Christians and the Sabians. Any who believe in Allah, even if they're not part of these three traditions, there is others that are included. Any who believe in Allah and the last day and work righteousness shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Being a Muslim, even being a Muslim, is not a guarantee for salvation. Praying in this mosque or that mosque, or praying too much or too little, is not what Islam is about. Can I have slide 7, please? The text says, it's very clear, it says, it is not righteousness that you turn your faces towards east or west, which means it's about prayers. It is not righteousness that you turn your face towards the east or west, but it is righteousness to believe in Allah and the last day, and the angels, and the book, and the messengers, to spend of your substance out of love for Him, for your kin, for orphans, for the needy, for the wayfarer, for those who ask, and for the ransom of slaves, to be steadfast in prayer and practice regular charity, to fulfill the contracts which you have made, secular contracts, and to be firm and patient in pain or suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic. Such are the people of truth, the Allah fear. As you can see, simply being a Muslim is no guarantee of salvation at all. The Quran is a text that guides Muslims to act in a just and fair manner, not just amongst themselves, but with all other beings. The Quran is the foundation of Muslim law, education, science, and literature. But it's a book. In the end, it's a book. What does it mean that the Quran is a book? Some people sleep with a book under their pillow and hope that the spirit of the book will seep into their minds. Some people recite and repeat texts as if these texts have some magical power. None of these notions are appropriate in the Islamic tradition. Very simply put, the Quran is a book to be read and to be understood and to be analyzed the way you analyze any book. It's a text. The first word, interestingly, the first word that came down in the Revelation was the word read, iqra, read. Can I have slide 8, please? This is the very first word, sentences of the Revelation. It says, read in the name of thy Lord, who created